Yeah. I don't know if this is working or not. It is. Alright. Yeah. I wanted to. So I wanted to try and go on today. Um, one, because I'm bored, and two, um, I want to get some more progress done in Hollow Knight, but I want to watch something for a little bit before we play. Um, like, oh my god. I probably won't be live for too long, maybe like, I don't know, an hour most, but I want to enjoy the rest of my day before I have to go do stuff the next day. Um, so, I found this, and it like really piqued my interest, so I was just gonna watch this and feed in my input. So, it's really loud. I like don't know how you would do that. Like surviving off of Dollar Tree food or like dollar store food. Any like dollar store like food. They did do that. Like they still call themselves like the dollar store or like the Dollar Tree. And until you go there, um like I don't know if anyone um like is within America, but you go to the dollar store now and it's like instead of like 99 cents or like at least a whole dollar, it's like $1.25, almost $2 now. It's crazy. Like it makes sense because they wouldn't make enough money off of having things be like $1, but still, it's like you're not really. You're. It's like fake. It's not being business transparent, I guess. Like the only reason I ever go to a dollar store, if I ever go to one, is to like buy a drink or like get a snack, cause they have like similar energies to, like gas stations. Like you stop at a gas station, you go in, they get like a snack maybe if you're in a rush, or then going to fast food and then paying so much money on just fast food in general. Um, they really are like super creepy. Um, like the last time I went into one, I didn't have a lot of money, so I was buying like, um, I was buying like cups, and there's just like no one there. I was like, it was me and then like one of my friends, and it was just us two. We bought like 3 or 4 glass cups, um, for like $2. Um, they they weren't bad, but look at that price, $1.75 for just drinks. That's like insane. I mean, like it's pretty cheap for like today's standards, but it's like it's just fake marketing. I feel like it's almost $2, and they call it the Dollar Tree. They do have like a liminal feel. I don't like going into them. Oh my goodness. The Jimmy Dean stuff, like it's good, but it's just like it's not the same. I'm sorry. We're not doing the advertisement. That's a thing? I've never actually had chicken salad. Like I've had I've had tuna salad, which I like a lot, but I've never heard or even tasted chicken salads. It doesn't sound that good, yeah. Oh, hello. That looks so bad. Oh my god. Like, I just don't think I could eat that. Like, that just looks terrible. The what? It can't? Oh my god. I've been watching it this whole time. I'm so sorry. It can't? Oh my god. I've been watching it this whole time. I'm like 8 minutes in.
Tell wasn't the best quality. The sausage was good, not great. The noodles and veggies were good as well. Hard to mess those up, but overall the meal was good. 8.5 out of 10. I smashed hard and successfully
Really?
completed.
That's like kind of surprising. That's like an 8. It's an 8.5 out of 10. It like did not look good at all. That's okay. You can hear it now, at least. Yeah. But like that just didn't like hold on. Is there like the close-up shot?
With water and from the noodles, threw it all together with my veggies and meat, plated, and here we go. A fully cooked.
Like that looks so sad. Like I would not wish that. Like if it's good, like at least it's good. But like I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. like I just don't. If he likes it, he likes it.
From start to finish Dollar Tree meal. How did it taste? Honestly, pretty well. I wish I had better oil, like legit olive oil or even butter, because the vegetable oil, you could tell, wasn't the best quality. The sausage was good, not great. The noodles and veggies were good as well. Hard to mess those up, but overall the meal was good. 8.5 out of 10. I smashed hard and successfully completed my first day. Day 2 arrived, I was feeling pretty good. So far I had 2 pretty crappy meals, but 1 good one. I definitely am hoping all my meals can be good, or at least not crappy.
For breakfast, I'm doing a Hungry Jack original hash brown potatoes mix. I'm gonna throw some sausage in there, maybe at the end to make it a little bit, more good.
Making this was interesting. I had to heat water and then put it in a box and wait 12 minutes before I could cook it. So while that was doing its thing, I'd figured I'd do something else. Since skipping my usual tea fix yesterday, I needed some caffeine desperately, so I tried this extremely special exclusive tea. Okay, I'm just kidding. This looks like the most basic tea ever, but honestly, it smelled pretty good. And you know what? It didn't taste too bad either. A bit bitter for my liking, but this is a good basic tea blend, and I'd give it a 6.4 out of 10. Back to the hash browns. After my 12-ish minutes of waiting, I had to drain any extra water, and then it was ready to be fried. I decided to fry these in my skillet, and instead of eating the sausages separately, I fried them a little together, and this was the final product. This was surprisingly good. I'm not sure if I would recommend the hash browns though, just because I don't see any advantage in these over like the frozen ones or fresh ones. Maybe if you don't have access to a freezer, these could work like for camping, but you truly are paying for the convenience fee here. Overall, 6.5 out of 10. For my second meal of the day, it was pizza time. Tony's
didn't
Meat
look bad,
Trio
it just,
frozen
like,
pizza, to be exact.
again,
I love pizza, no joke.
think
It's
it's
probably
gonna
one
be
of my
that good.
favorite foods. I'm crazy about it. And I have to say, Tony did a pretty solid job with this one. It's hard to mess up frozen pizza, but trust me, I've had some truly bad ones. This though, a strong 8 out of 10 in my book. The only downside was the price. This was one of the most expensive items I bought at $5. It's not outrageous, but with my limited budget, I needed to be careful about splurging on items like this if I want to make it through the challenge. After my second meal, I decided it was time to dive into some research. I grabbed my laptop, went to my local park, and started digging into everything I could about dollar stores, their explosive growth, rising costs, and the looming threat of a potential downfall. Since the
I mean, like their explosive growth like makes sense. Like you make a store where everything's $1 or less. Like you're gonna get a lot of business, especially like when they first opened. Like when Dollar Generals were like huge. I remember like when I was a kid, like I would go there like pretty frequently. I would go there like get like party supplies, and just like general things. That you would use for like 50 cents or like maybe just a whole dollar. Which we'll probably talk about, but
90s, companies like Dollar General and Dollar Tree, which also owns Family Dollar, have expanded at an astonishing rate. Now
They
boasting
own
over
Family Dollar?
30,000.
I thought Family Dollar was a smaller business. I did not know they owned Family Dollar. I thought it was like those 3 chains. I didn't think Dollar Tree owned Family Dollar.
Locations across the US. It seems wherever you go, you can't escape the bright yellow Dollar General logo or the iconic green Dollar Tree tree. From a business perspective, much of these dollar store success lie in their ability to thrive where other businesses can't. Low-income neighborhoods, rural neighborhoods, and
Yeah.
underserved communities that large retailers like Walmart often overlook. In towns too small to sustain a supermarket, dollar stores step in, filling the gap. They do this by keeping operational costs incredibly low and operating in smaller spaces that require less overhead. This lean business model is a key advantage that many other businesses lack. But it's not just about efficiency. Dollar stores attract shoppers with a promise of unbeatable prices. Dollar Tree, for example, built its reputation on a fixed pricing strategy, with most items priced at just $1. Until recently, everything in the store adhered to that magic number. As you can see during my visit, that's no longer the case, but the perception of lower
It is kind of crazy. Like, it is called the Dollar Tree, but like you go there and you'll find things for like almost $5. It's like, what do you mean you're the Dollar Tree? Like, there's no dollar. Not everything is not $1 anymore.
costs remains a powerful selling point for consumers who want to stretch their dollar. Dollar stores achieve their famously low prices through a combination of strategies. Economies of scale allow chains like Dollar Tree to buy massive quantities of goods at reduced costs, enabling them to sell them cheaply while still turning a profit. They also often strike exclusive deals with manufacturers to produce specifically designed, smaller-sized versions of their products, keeping their price low while still offering recognizable brands. With the combination of a lean business model and uniquely affordable offerings, it's no surprise that dollar stores have seen explosive growth. But this growth has come with a hidden cost. Many argue that dollar stores have a negative impact on surrounding small businesses. By underpricing local grocery stores and independent retailers, dollar chains push them out of business, leaving communities with fewer options. And because these stores typically employ fewer workers at lower wages, it's argued they don't contribute much to the local economy. Additionally, the rise of dollar stores has contributed to the proliferation of food deserts, areas where fresh, nutritious food is scarce. As local grocery stores close or are unable to compete with dollar chains, residents are left with limited access to healthy food. So while the dollar store model might seem
That's like that's a little like concerning. Like, this company is just able to like push out full on just what is it, like food brands or just food companies, like I don't know, I'm gonna say like some Kroger or something. Like, it's kind of crazy that they can just do that. It's like you're going up against like would I rather buy like I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go food shopping, and do I want to spend like $10 on like these bag of chips, or am I gonna spend half as much, or if not less, on like the same bag of chips?
Being great on the surface, it's not without its problems from both a local
I would never
economic
really
and
shop
consumer
there for,
perspective. And
like,
this
food
is
shopping. I just
just
don't
the tip
trust
of
it.
the iceberg. We'll dive deeper into it later. For now, I think it's time for dinner. I decided on sausage and bean tacos, or something close to that. For substance, I whipped up a mix.
Jimmy Dean sausages, like the Jimmy Dean sausages, they're good. Like, I really enjoy their brands, but it's just like it's just not worth it. Like,
using breakfast sausage and stir-fry veggies for a potentially flavorful combo. I also heated up the beans and cooked my tortillas. Now, when I say cooked my tortillas, I mean I tossed them directly on the stovetop. Years ago, I saw someone else try it, and it's been my go-to ever since. If you've got a gas stove
never
and haven't
tried
tried
that.
this yet, I highly recommend it. Just be careful. The result is a nice, slightly charred tortilla that adds a little extra something to your meal.
That actually
With
doesn't
everything
look that
done,
bad.
I threw it all together and smashed. And honestly, this is pretty darn great. I just wish I had some hot sauce or some sort of salsa to put on top. I'd rate this a strong 9 out of 10 though.
Yeah,
A
I
pretty
like
healthy,
that. That
delicious
doesn't-
meal.
that doesn't
Day 3
look that
arrived
bad.
and I needed to return back to the tree. As I mentioned before, there were key items not in stock when I went on day 1. I was eager to go because the worker mentioned their main truck comes on a Tuesday and it's Wednesday, so I am hoping that there will be more food items in stock. Firstly, I did notice more food items were in stock. For example, the $5 freezer section was stocked and looked like this. And oh, wait, is that shrimp? Yes. Dollar store shrimp. I have to get this.
I wouldn't trust it. The moment he said shrimp, seafood, like I would just not trust that.
I saw lunch meat too, ham selects for just $1.25. I grabbed some Heinz hot sauce, which looked pretty good. I also grabbed these Vienna chicken sausages. These seem like a staple dollar store item, so I feel obligated to try them. I really wanted English muffins, and they did not have them again today, which really ruined a lot of my plans, but I can still make this all work. Here are the final results. All this food for $37.39. For my first meal today, my initial plan was sausage.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I swear English muffins are so good. I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, I would choose a croissant over anything, but like English muffins definitely up there for like all time like breads, or like breakfast breads. Like, they're just so good.
Gravy over English muffins. I bought one of these gravy packets on day 1, but because they didn't have English muffins, I needed to do something with it. So I decided to start the day with sausage stroganoff, or the Dollar Tree version of that. So for these gravy packets, it's pretty straightforward. You just add warm water and whisk away. Of course, for the sausage, it was a simple warm-up chop and throw it in the gravy. Then I added the noodles at the end to make my own version of sausage stroganoff. It was plain, but pretty good. To add some kazam, I threw in some of this garlic and herb seasoning that honestly made it better. The whole dish and gravy I would give an 8.5 out of 10. Afterwards, I ventured to the gym where it was insanely windy. Wind rating 16 out of 10. Later, for my second meal, I decided to give a whack at fish tacos. Coincidentally, Gordon recommended I make fish tacos on the back, so I guess great minds think alike. I took the fish sticks out of the box, lined them up in an ostentatious manner, threw them in the oven, and let them cook. While that occurred, I wanted to try the pineapple and jalapenos that I would be throwing on fish tacos. Jalapenos were good, 9 out of 10. The pineapple was also good, 9 out of 10. Hard to mess these up, but
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
never
say,
know.
you
I cooked
can't
my
mess those
tortillas.
up.
Each tortilla I handled with extreme care. Then it came time to plate my creation. Fish first, jalapeno second, then pineapple. Don't forget it. And let's see. Yes, quite good. I really enjoyed this and would definitely eat it again. I also wanted to try that hot sauce I got, so I shook it well, poured a bit, and did a solid dip. And it was super good. Wow. This bad boy is staying in my pantry. Sauce, 10 out of 10. Dish, 9 out of 10. A simple, good tasty meal. Later that day for my
It's
third
not
meal,
that
I
bad,
decided
it's
to test my
fish.
luck with some tuna mac. The recipe calls for butter or milk, and I had neither. Hoping it wasn't essential, turns out It is. It was a tuna mac and cheese disaster. This was thicker than oatmeal. My arm was no joke getting sore from stirring so much. 5.5 out of 10. With butter or milk,
Oh my, that looks like slop. Like they just look like straight slop.
likely a 7 out of 10. Not a bad cheap meal though, and of course, definitely filling. The fourth day arrived, and I choose violence. For my first meal, I was finally going to try these chicken Vienna sausages. I've never had anything like this in my life, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous, so I went somewhere special for the occasion. My local lake area has the scenic overlook, the perfect place to make memories, experience growth, and maybe even try new things. I also bought some Toastum pop-ups as my second item for the meal. Yes, I know, what a nutritious breakfast.
It's super hot. It doesn't look hot, right? It's fall, but it's super hot and it's windy. It's just a mess. Let's just dive in. Okay, so this looks disgusting. There's like this white liquid, and I'm not into that. Whatever this is, I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
It was like old chicken in hot dog water.
Wow, I don't like that at all. Ugh. I think this is gross. One more bite. No. Bad. Ugh. Gross. Disgusting. Ugh. Did not like that. I'm gonna say it's gross. 1 out of 10. Bad. It's so bad. Ugh. Okay. Can't mess up Pop-Tarts, right? It's a nice looking tart.
The Pop-Tarts, oh, I'm sorry, Toastum pop-ups were good though.
No, this is good. Would definitely recommend.
8 out of 10 for the Pop-Tarts and 1 out of 10 for the Vienna chicken.
I would have given the chicken like a way lower rating. Like that looked terrible. I like that. That is something I would not wish against my worst enemies. Like that looks so bad.
Sausages. For my second meal of the day, it was time to try that $1.25 ham. The plan was a ham and jalapeno wrap. My idea was to grill the ham a little bit to give it a little more
That doesn't look
pow.
like bad
The
ham.
ham wasn't bad. It definitely tasted like most lunch meat you'd get at a regular grocery store, so honestly, it's doing its job. 7.7 out of 10. Together with the jalapenos and wrap, it was a pretty decent second meal. Wish I had cheese. All in all, 8 out of 10. Later, for my third meal of the day, I decided to try my best at making some poor man's pasta with red sauce. Attention Italians, please do not hate me. You've been warned. Firstly, spaghetti sauce. The Dollar Tree had this brand Hunt's. I tested the sauce. It was described as garlic and herb flavored, and let me tell you, it was very much below average. Because it was so bad, I decided to try and make it better. This is when I committed an egregious culinary crime. I used breakfast sausage. I know, but I'm here to try these things so you don't have to. I also threw in that garlic and herb seasoning along with some minced garlic I got. Noodles wise, I went with cavatappi, which looked fun. I also tried the Texas toast I got, and this stuff is usually pretty good. I tested the sauce, and honestly, I do think I improved the sauce, but let me be clear, it was nowhere near good, but it became serviceable. I plated and topped it off with some of this grated cheese, which was interestingly the most powdery grated cheese I ever had. It was like pure cheese dust, but not gonna lie, it tasted pretty good. And overall, the dish was okay. Pasta and the Texas toast, 9 out of 10. You can't mess that up. Pre-spice up, the sauce was a 3 out of 10. Post-spice up, it was a 5 out of 10. Overall, a solid 6 out of 10.
Hello, it is day 5 here. I am officially about halfway done through the challenge. So far, it's been going pretty okay. My stomach has been all right, not really bad, not really good. My sleep schedule though has been pretty bad, and I don't know if that's because of this challenge, the dietary changes, or maybe it's just the lifestyle changes that have kind of come with eating 3 meals a day, things like that. I would lean more towards the lifestyle changes. I think that has kind of had an effect on my sleep. Or maybe it's just me, you know, getting in my mind and getting stressed out. But yeah, let's continue on.
For my first meal, I was craving some fruit, so it was time to bust into my can of peaches, which were good. 9 out of 10, an iconic
really
fruit
can't go
in
wrong
an
with peaches.
iconic situation, a can. For the rest of the meal, I was finally trying the teriyaki tuna. I decided to throw it on a tortilla, which seems to be my thing at this point if you're paying attention. And honestly, the tuna tasted pretty average. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I was honestly expecting more teriyaki flavor. I really like teriyaki flavor, but it was just mainly tuna flavored with just a little bit of teriyaki. Afterwards, I ventured out on an important mission. This morning, I received a shockingly good coupon from a pet store, and I wasn't gonna let this challenge get in the way of that, so I went into the pet store, checked out some of the pets for sale, fish, lizards, gerbils, what is life? Anyways, I stocked up on cat food and a few other things, and then after that, I went to the gym, and then I went home, where it was time for my second meal. For that, I wanted to make pierogies with kibasi and peppers. Unfortunately, I made a terrible mistake. I grabbed what I thought was the same stir-fry blend as before, peppers and onions, but this one had broccoli, peas, and carrots in it. A huge mistake. If you've never had pierogies, you're missing out. Essentially, a pierogi is a Polish dumpling, often filled with potatoes, cheese, and sometimes even meat or vegetables. You can cook them in a bunch of different ways. These boxed, pre-made pierogies from Mrs. T's are pretty good. Combining everything together made for a pretty great looking dish. As for eating the dish, something didn't taste right, so I bit into one of these carrots and it had this weird brownish color and it was not good at all. It tasted pretty gross, which really
That is,
killed
like,
the hype
really
of the
bad.
dish. I'd say the boxed pierogies were an 8.
Like, I would not continue eating it if my carrot looked like that. Like, there's like a brown color. I think that means they're just like no longer good. Or like they're too ripe.
0.5 out of 10, and the dish
Don't
itself
quote me on
was a
that.
9 out of 10.
You
Would have
can
been a
check
10
me,
out of
though.
10 if it wasn't for those bad carrot chunks. For dinner, I was in for quite the adventure. It was time for dollar store shrimp. Now, let me clarify a few things. First, I've never cooked raw shrimp before, although I've cooked plenty of it in RuneScape where it's literally one click and done, and you can do that at level 1, so I naturally assumed real life shrimp would be pretty easy. Spoiler alert, it's really not. The process turned out to be more involved than I expected. Step 1 was rinsing the shrimp. Easy enough. Then I had to boil them until they turned opaque, but like, what does that even mean? Google says perfectly cooked shrimp will be opaque with a color ranging from pink or orange. Here's the thing,
Yeah.
how orange is orange and how opaque is opaque? It's not as easy as you might think to figure out, so I might have overcooked them just a tad. And then after that, you still have to peel the shrimp. Overall though, my first attempt at shrimp was, let's just say, a learning experience.
It doesn't look too
It's
terrible.
shrimp time.
I did not like the shrimp, and generally I do like shrimp, but this shrimp just was not the shrimp for me. I would probably give this a 4 out of 10. I don't know if I cooked it wrong or it's just bad quality shrimp. It says that this shrimp's from Indonesia, I guess, but I would recommend going somewhere else to buy your shrimp. Day 6 began with a cup of tea, setting a calm and comforting tone for the morning. I decided to head back to the tree to check in if they had any new items in stock. Upon entering, I noticed they had rearranged a lot of the shelves, making the store feel different from my last visit. To my surprise, they had restocked with some new items: Arby's curly fries, cheese singles, and even butter. I grabbed my fair share of questionable items for the content, and I picked up a few more essentials. This
Fast
time though, I had
bites.
to continuously count and double check my cart to ensure I wasn't overspending or breaking my budget. On a more serious note, this was an incredibly grounding experience. It's easy to overlook the comforts of your own life until moments like this remind you how starkly different realities are for other people. I wasn't raised with a silver spoon, I'd say more like a plastic fork, but even that has its privileges compared to what many face daily. While I've approached this journey with humor and luxury to experiment, for many people, every decision at a dollar store carries significant weight. These are not just quick stops for snacks or quirky finds, they are lifelines for entire communities. And that's why what comes next
Yeah.
is so important. It's time to shift gears and unpack more truth about the businesses behind these stores and their price tags. While browsing the tree, I noticed some of the smallest food portions I'd ever seen, which got me thinking. All these dollar stores present themselves as budget-friendly shopping havens, but is that always true? Well, the answer may shock you. This brings us to Boots. Yeah, I'm wearing boots. The boot theory of socioeconomic unfairness, coined by Terry Pratchett, explains how poverty forces people to spend more over time. For instance, a $60 pair of boots that lasts 1 year may seem affordable, but compared to a $100 pair that lasts 2 years, the cheaper option ultimately costs more in the long run. This theory highlights a frustrating reality for those with limited means and serves as an example of socioeconomic unfairness. In dollar stores, this principle plays out vividly. Products that appear affordable up front often don't deliver the same long-term value. Take thin spaghetti, for example. At Dollar Tree, a box costs $1.25. At Walmart, their great value brand costs $1.92. On the surface, Dollar Tree seems like the better deal, especially with its bold claim of 25% more free. But when you do the math, the story changes. Dollar Tree's spaghetti costs $1.25 for a 20-ounce box, which breaks down to 6.2 cents per ounce. Walmart spaghetti at $1.92 for a 32-ounce box comes out to roughly 6 cents per ounce. Despite the higher upfront price, Walmart's option is cheaper per ounce and gives you more for your money. Smart shopper.
Shopping at like stores like Walmart, or just going somewhere, or like buying a slightly more expensive item, can be better in certain cases. But I haven't gone food shopping since like last week maybe, so.
Might be rolling their eyes at me saying obviously buying in bulk is cheaper, but it's not just buying in bulk. Sometimes identical items sold at Walmart and other retailers are cheaper than at Dollar Tree. Take Bumblebee tuna packs for an example. At the Dollar Tree, they're $1.25 each, while Walmart sells the same 2.5 ounce pack for $1.16. This is where the illusion of savings come into play. Dollar Tree relies on the assumption that everything in the store is a deal, but that isn't always true. At Walmart and regular grocery chains, unit prices are displayed on sales tags, making it easy for shoppers to compare value. But at Dollar Tree, where everything is assumed to be $1.25, there's no unit price displayed, leaving customers to do the math themselves. I'm a guy with no kids and an obsession for detail, but a single parent shopping at a Dollar Tree doesn't have the time to do the math and figure out if they're getting ripped off. And that's where these stores really take advantage of people. I went to Walmart and looked at a bunch of items and compared the costs during my research phase of the video. Arby's fries, Vienna sausages, and stir-fried noodles were all cheaper at Walmart, and they were all the same sizes. But the one that really stood out to me was fish sticks. At Dollar Tree, a box of Gorton's fish sticks is $5. You get 18 sticks or 11.4 ounces. But at Walmart, you can get 44 fish sticks or 24.6 ounces
for only 48 cents more. That's not that bad. And you're getting like 20 more sticks for 48 cents more. Like that's like significantly better. Like I'd rather spend the 48 cents extra than spend only $5 to get like 20 of them.
Just 48 cents more. Yes, it's not the same brand, but for an extra 48 cents, you're getting twice as much food. Now, in fairness to Dollar Tree, not everything they sell fits this pattern. That terrible pasta sauce, if for some reason you want to disappoint your family, that's cheaper at the Dollar Tree versus at Walmart. Those Idahoan potato packs, also cheaper at Dollar Tree. So where does that leave us? Well, honestly, a little frustrated, but at least I have the option to choose where I shop. Not everyone has that luxury. Some people don't have cars, rely on public transportation, or live in food deserts where Dollar Tree or Dollar General may be their only grocery store shopping options. And that's where things get far more concerning. If someone only has one place to shop, they're far more vulnerable to being taken advantage of. And allegedly this is happening far more often than you may think. But more on that and what's being done about all of this later. Right now, I need to focus on one thing: getting through this challenge. Have you ever eaten something so bad you wanted to dive into a vat of acid? Let me introduce you to meal 1 for day 6, a Jimmy Dean sausage and cheese English muffin. Now, generally, I like breakfast sandwiches, but just look at this thing. It looked like it got ran over by a car, and surprise, surprise, it tasted like it too. The cheese, pretty terrible. I'd give this a 2.5 out of 10. Luckily for me though, I had bought some mangoes, which I was really excited to eat. I always loved these like little cups growing up, and I would give these an 8 out of 10. For my second meal, I decided to go with a Mexican theme. Enter the XXL Chimichanga, spicy red hot bean and cheese. And for my side, I wanted to do tortilla chips and guacamole dip. As I microwaved the chimichanga, I entered that part of these social experiments where I start to question my life choices and slowly lose my mind. How was the chimichanga? Well, not great. It was doughy and lacked flavor. I feel like a lot of these frozen items so far are mostly just bread or tortilla with barely any of the good stuff inside.
Yeah, like a lot of frozen food is just not. I mean, as it said, like it's just not good for you. But I don't generally enjoy frozen food. Like the only things I'll enjoy occasionally is like frozen pizza, maybe. But like the Jimmy Dean sausages, I used to have them when I was younger, but I just don't really. I just can't eat them. Or like any like frozen breakfast sausage, because it's just so bad. It tastes like fast food. It's like one of those you really can't save.
4 out of 10. Now, I was really curious about the dip. It didn't taste like guacamole. I checked the ingredients and there were a bunch of things I didn't know existed. Still, it was okay. The only downside was this weird aftertaste. 6 out of 10. RFK is 100% going to ban whatever I just ate. For dinner, I had what I thought was a pretty epic idea: ham, potatoes, and green beans. To give the green beans a little extra flair, I decided to fry them up with some garlic. The potatoes were a breeze to make, just boil water, mix in the packet, and voila. I plated everything trying to make it look somewhat presentable, added some salt and pepper, and this meal was pretty good. I wish the ham was like
It doesn't
ham,
look bad.
not some lunch meat, but the potatoes, super easy, super tasty, definitely stole the show. I'd give them an 8 out of 10. The green beans were okay. I'd give them a 6 out of 10. I like mine fresh and not canned. It reminds me of my school lunches. Still, the overall dinner was a solid 8 out of 10. Day 7 arrived. Fun fact, I got this hoodie at Goodwill and I've never worn it until now. It was time for another burrito or burrito adjacent item. This time a breakfast wrap. What's crazy about this thing is the recommended cooking time in the oven was, no joke, 38 minutes. You could literally make your own scrambled eggs, bacon, and throw it in a wrap in under 20 minutes. This is double that, which to me is insane. So I decided to microwave it. The directions stated to just put it on a paper towel, so I did. The breakfast wrap was just like the burrito I had yesterday. About 80% wrap or tortilla, and not much substance. On the wrap it said it had 13 grams of protein, and I don't really think that's possible with how little egg or bacon was actually inside. I decided to throw on some hot sauce on this thing to try and make it better, because it was incredibly dull. 4 out of 10. For my second meal, it was time for fish and chips. My new item here was these TJ Farms Select Steak Cut Fries. When I opened the bag, the fries smelled bad. Like old potatoes and cigarettes. Between these fries and the carrots, I don't know what it is with these
That looks
freezer
so
items,
dry.
but some of them just don't taste right. Honestly, the fries were horrible. 2 out of 10. Some of the worst freezer fries I've ever had. For my third meal, it was make your own pizza night. So interestingly, the fella working at the dollar store, let's call him Luigi, when I checked out said this crust was super good. So I had high expectations because of Luigi. Unfortunately, they didn't sell pizza sauce, so I had to use Hunt's pasta sauce instead. This time I went with their traditional version, not the garlic and herb. I gave it a sip, and guess what? It also was bad, but slightly better than the other version. 5 out of 10. Yes, I know. This cheese isn't meant for pizza, but it's all they had. For the record, I'm a provolone guy. All the provolone homies down below, let me know you're there. I tried the cheese, 6 out of 10. Hard to mess up American cheese. Tried the pepperoni, and that was good, 7.5 out of 10. When the pizza was done, I was pretty thrilled to try it. Cut it up, plated. How was it? Honestly, great. Luigi was right. The crust was fantastic. 9 out of 10. Overall, the pizza itself, I'd give an 8 out of 10. If I had proper cheese and sauce, I would have loved it, but you know, we're roughing it here. Day 8 arrived, and I had something special planned for my first meal, so I decided to venture out into the wilderness and find a good spot to eat. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere to try some interesting food, starting off with these beach cliff herring fillets. And I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look good. It looks really bad. There's skin all on it, like fish skin, and I don't know if like that's how it's supposed to be. Like you're supposed to eat the skin as well. Like I know people that eat sardines, it's like the skin, the fish skin's on it. So this is just everything. So I'm just gonna eat it all for the sake of science. But here we go. First time ever trying herring fillets going in. Oh. I really didn't like that at all. And here's why. There's so much going on with the texture and the flavor that I think it's kind of gross. They put it in like this liquidy water, but it's really dry. So it's like dried fish in this water. And I assume the water or whatever it is to keep it fresh. But man, that is just a lot going on. And I think it's pretty gross. I don't want to ever eat one of these again. It's not something I'd recommend. I'd give it a 3 out of 10. Moving on. We're gonna go into the dippers now. Simple, sophisticated, elegant. You might ask, what is a dipper if you've never had them? They are pretzels and cheese. You can get a cracker version as well.
I used to
This is equally good in
when I was
my
a kid.
opinion. You open it up
all the time.
and you've got these pretzels and cheese, and you take one and you dip it in, like so. So, oh, got a little bug flying on me. You take the pretzel, you dip it in the cheese, and you've got magic. I've got a problem immediately. The pretzel is extremely stale, which really stinks because I was looking forward to something good
You
today
really
in
can't
this
mess
meal
those up. They're, like,
because I did
super
not like the
good.
fish, but it's okay. Here's the dip cam, which I just invented. This is a POV of me dipping. Almost choked there. So there's me with the dip. Not really doing a great
There's
job.
like these
but
same ones, but they're
I'm not here for
they're
that.
Oreo
And
based.
then there's the bite.
They're like the Oreo
Oh, this was
outside
like a person
with like the creamy
earlier.
dip.
Yeah, I mean they're not bad. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. If these weren't
Those
stale,
are like one of my favorite
I'd
ones.
give it a 7 out of 10. But because the pretzels are stale, I'm gonna have to bump it down a little bit. But I would recommend these, you know, as long as they're fresh. You can get them fresh. After my disappointing meal, I went to the gym, went home, and planned my second meal. This time, I went for Korean barbecue yakisobe. To elevate it a bit, I decided to incorporate canned chicken and some stir-fry veggies. This meal turned out to be pretty fantastic. I set aside some plain noodles to taste on their own, and they were a good 7.2 out of 10. As for the canned chicken, a little underwhelming. Maybe it was just in my head, but I couldn't shake this lingering herring-like aftertaste. The chicken I'd give a 5 out of 10, and not awful if you're desperate. Overall though, this stir-fry chicken veggie combo was a win, earning a respectable 7.5 out of 10. For my third meal, it was pasta night, and I decided to break out the thin spaghetti. Originally, I had planned to go with a sausage buttered noodle dish, but in the end, I went vegetarian instead. I'm never quite sure how much pasta to make. It's always a personal struggle, though I would definitely consider myself a pasta pro. I don't break pasta in half. I'm not a heathen. Here's a pro trick. I use tongs to grab the pasta and guide it gently around the pot. It's a smooth process, and it works like a charm. When the noodles hit that perfect al dente texture, I knew it was time to move to the next step. Meanwhile, I sauteed the broccoli in butter to make a sauce, adding a generous amount of garlic because, let's be honest, there's no such thing as too much garlic. The verdict? Amazing. A solid 9 out of 10. The only thing holding it back from perfection was a lack of red pepper flakes or proper Italian seasoning. If I had those, it might have been a 10 out of 10. Hello everybody, it is day 9 here. I am drinking my morning tea and I'm going to be making some pancakes. Dollar store
Ooh.
pancakes. Making pancakes with a mix is supposed to be easy. Just grab the mix, add water, stir, and toss them in a pan. Only an absolute buffoon could mess this up, right? Okay, so maybe
Pancakes
pancakes
are
aren't
probably
that foolproof.
one of
I
my
started
like
by using
favorite
vegetable oil to grease the
dishes. Like, I don't know. I personally love pancakes. Like, waffles are good, but the holes in them, like I get they're supposed to hold the syrup. It's just like not enjoyable enough, you know? Like, pancakes, they're flat, simple, the syrup spreads out evenly. With waffles, you'll have like one hole fill up so much more than the rest of the waffle.
pan and quickly realized that was a rookie mistake. Switching to butter definitely helped, but even with the butter upgrade, I hit a few snags. Here's the final product. Not the prettiest, but they tasted great. Pancakes earned a solid 9 out of 10, and the syrup wasn't bad either, 8 out of 10. After breakfast, I went to vote. It was election day, so for lunch, I decided to go for burgers and fries. What's more American than that? The microwave burger was sketchy at first glance. I mean, just look at that box. I've never had any sort of burger like this, and look at this thing. It really didn't inspire much confidence, but surprisingly, it wasn't bad. It tasted like a White Castle burger. For a frozen burger, it was actually pretty decent, 7 out of 10. The fries, on the other hand, were still awful, and I honestly should have just thrown them out. That's how bad they were. For my third meal, I had something special planned, a casserole, something I've never made out of a box before. My idea was to whip up a tuna and pea casserole. The process was fairly simple. Boil water, mix it with potato.
That doesn't seem too bad, honestly. A tuna casserole. There's a lot of foods I haven't genuinely had before.
Potato flakes, butter, and a pack of seasoning, and then toss it in the oven. The recipe called for milk, but unfortunately I didn't have any. When it was ready, I plated it, and here's what I was working with. Honestly, it turned out pretty good. The milk would have definitely added a creamier texture, but it wasn't essential. I do think the dish would have benefited from some onion. Overall, 8 out of 10. But if I'm being honest, my mind wasn't on peas,
look like a
tuna,
tribal
or
dish.
casserole. It was elsewhere. The final day has arrived, and I'm more than ready to be done. Between the questionable food, the relentless cooking, and an unexpected lack of sleep, I don't feel like myself anymore. This challenge has been grueling in ways I didn't.
Like, living off of just like microwave food and just like constant, just like frozen foods, terrible for your body. Like, I know that's like just a like, oh yeah, you know, like it's just a basic statement, like that's very obvious, but like for 10 days, like that's so bad. Like, I genuinely feel bad for, I would never wish this upon anybody. I wouldn't even wish this upon my roommate.
Anticipate, and I find myself in a reflective state, not just about the experiment itself, but also about its broader implications. So today is going to be a little different. Here are my scores for the food, and while I go through my day, I want to talk about something. I do these social experiments for many reasons: to tell a story, to investigate something I believe deserves scrutiny, to push my own limits, and of course, to entertain. But this journey has felt different. It's not just exhausting, it's frustrating. I've developed a real resentment towards dollar stores and the socioeconomic systems that allow them to thrive at such a cost to communities. At the same time, this experience has given me a newfound appreciation for the people who navigate these challenges every day, especially parents with large families who manage to cook different meals on a tight budget. Stretching every dollar to put food on the table requires a level of resourcefulness and resilience that's easy to overlook until you try it yourself. I can't ignore the privilege I have even to attempt this challenge. I have the freedom to experiment, reflect, and ultimately step away when it's over. Luxuries that many who rely on dollar stores as their primary food source simply don't have. And these are thoughts I feel compelled to highlight. The things many of us take for granted. I crossed my finish line, but this is far from over. In the beginning, I set out to investigate dollar stores. Are dollar stores truly affordable? Can you put together a healthy diet at these stores with limited resources? Can one man stay sane while eating what many would call garbage? What's so evil and potentially dangerous about these discount shopping centers? Well, now that I've survived off dollar store food for 10 days, researched extensively, and lived it, I can honestly say I hate dollar stores, and I think you should too. Let me explain. Firstly, in my attempt to uncover what
I feel like that's a very valid like reaction. Like, they boot out like grocery stores that probably have good, healthy, fresh food because of their prices, rip you off, and then like give you less for cheaper when you could spend maybe like 50 cents more to get more in it. Granted, like, yeah, it's mainly just like it's a really good thing that they still do exist, because you only make like what? Let's say you make like only like $800 a week at like your check to check job. You only make like $800 a week at your check to check job. You really don't have enough to like go to a general food store that would raise its prices depending on like the economy, I guess. I don't know. Dollar stores are so very scummy.
whether dollar stores are truly affordable, I discovered that they position themselves as hubs for savings, but that's often far from the truth. To complete the challenge, I had to go slightly over budget, spending a total of $105.22. It was harder than you'd think to stay under budget while shopping exclusively at a dollar store. Now sure, a lot of the meals I was making, I had leftovers. And I had leftover items like extra pasta. But I couldn't shake that feeling that I could have gotten way more value shopping at a regular grocery store. I had to be super careful with my spending. yet I still went over budget. This perfectly highlights the challenges of relying on dollar stores for everyday needs. While they claim to be budget friendly, navigating their offerings often proves just how difficult and limiting they can be for those with no other choice. Secondly, the way these stores market themselves is incredibly deceptive.
I feel like if you go shop at like a pharmacy, like a Walgreens or a CVS, like you get more and not get ripped off, and you're still like saving a good amount of money because a lot of their stuff isn't super expensive. Like, granted, depending on like, it depends on the location, but still, like, if you can't go to a grocery store, if you're like far, or if you're far away from a grocery store, instead of going to like a Dollar Tree, it would be better. It would probably be better just to go to like pharmacy, would it not?
One of the biggest issues, the lack of unit pricing. This practice, which borders on misleading, leaves customers unable to accurately compare product values. As a result, people often end up paying more for less. As I showed earlier, Dollar Tree heavily relies on this tactic, creating the illusion of affordability while concealing the fact that many items are overpriced when broken down by volume or weight. While you can find some bargains, you're almost always better off buying in bulk or even elsewhere. But as we discussed earlier, not everyone has that luxury. For people in underserved communities, dollar stores are their only option, making this marketing strategy not just deceptive, but predatory. Third, many dollar stores fail to provide high quality or healthy food options. While the items I purchased hadn't expired, many seemed stale, older, or far from fresh. Sure, there were some decent tasting items, and thanks to some creativity, I made some good dishes. Oh, and here's a ranked list if you're curious. But as for healthy options, yeah, practically non-existent. This lack of healthy choices forces shoppers to rely on highly processed, high sodium, and sugar-laden products, contributing to widespread health issues like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. But that's just a few things, so they're not really affordable, use potentially shady marketing tactics, and lack healthy food options. You might be like, Zach, you're nitpicking. Alright, let's talk about the effects dollar stores have on local economies. The USDA released a study on the impacts dollar store openings had on local grocery stores, and it showed independent grocery retailers were 2.3% more likely, on average, to exit the market, and employment at independent grocery stores fell about 3.7%, and sales declined by 5.7%. When dollar stores move in, local grocery stores often close, harming communities in a multitude of ways. Recognizing this threat, at least 20...
That's so bad. Because shopping at like a local grocery store is just so much better for you. And you can get like good prices too. If not better, like, you can get good deals, if not better deals, at like a local grocery store than going to anywhere else, like a big, like, main chain grocery store. Like one of them is like Market Basket or something. Like that's like an independently owned store, and their prices are super good.
25 local governments across the US have enacted policies to limit the expansion of dollar stores. But okay, maybe you don't care about your local grocery stores or economy. Why else should you hate these dollar stores? Well, can we talk about the lawsuits? Yes, that's plural. There are so many, it's impossible to cover them all. Here's one that stands out as particularly alarming. Dollar General has been accused of routinely overcharging customers by charging more at the register than the price advertised on the shelf. Customers began noticing this pattern. They'd grab an item marked at one price, and then when it was scanned at checkout, it was suddenly more expensive. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a widespread issue that has led to lawsuits in multiple states. If that lawsuit doesn't concern you, take your pick. Let's see, lawsuit over Family Dollar rat infestation continues. Family Dollar Tree sued for selling unsafe meds and other products.
I would never buy it. I don't know why you would buy medicine from, like, a Dollar Tree. Like, I get if there's, like, no pharmacy nearby, but there should be, like, there usually should be, like, local pharmacies, like a CVS or Walgreens, in, like, neighborhoods. I mean, like, I grew up in a lot more, like, densely packed area, so, like, I had easier access to, like, pharmacies in my like town, but it's like buying medicines from a dollar store. That's crazy.
Dollar General to pay $12 million to resolve truckload of OSHA safety violations. These are all separate and just from this year. I don't know at this point how you could possibly defend these dollar stores. Sure, in some areas where a population can't sustain a grocery store, they fill a gap. But that doesn't mean that they could just be off the hook for everything else. They market themselves as the budget-friendly saviors of struggling communities, but in reality, their low prices come at a high cost. Poor quality products, unhealthy food options, and shady business practices that are detrimental to local economies. But there is a silver lining. I mentioned the lawsuits and how local governments are limiting the expansion of dollar stores. But that's not all. People are organizing groups, protests, and organizations all about trying to bring awareness to these issues. And honestly, that gives me hope. I can't predict the future. No one can. But I strongly believe that with the right information and action, meaningful change is possible. Before this experience, I barely knew anything about dollar stores, let alone the harm they can cause. But after this, I have a completely different perspective. I've definitely learned that cheap doesn't always mean better, and sometimes it costs far more than we realize. I'm not sure what you'll take away from this experience. Maybe you've gained a new appreciation for your local grocery store. Maybe you spotted some interesting foods you're curious to try. Or maybe you just enjoyed spending an hour with a random guy on the internet eating questionable meals. Whatever the case, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I gave you something worth thinking about. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thanks Rocket Money for sponsoring the video. Don't forget to click the link down below to take control of your finances and get started for free.
I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. No, that was like really cool. Again, like everyone's situation is very different. Like I can understand like you have to shop at a like having to shop at a dollar store, but that's like really really bad. Like needing to just shop at one of those, and like how just like bad they are. You see, like explained like that's just not good. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna play anything today. I'm gonna be honest. I'm very very tired. So I'm just gonna change the title of the stream, but I'm probably not gonna play anything today. I'm very very exhausted. I did not sleep well last night, or yeah, I just did not sleep well or really have like a good night's rest. I was up way too late, so.